Howdy, folks. I'm Colonel Sanders, and you're not. And if you're from this page from 2014, you know me as Yogi the Hamster 10. Minopolis started in 2012. I got a PlayStation 3, started building the city on Minecraft, and eventually it grew to at least 73 members. Those 73 members were from across the world. We made all kinds of friends. We made a bunch of YouTube videos, several series called the Tylerverse, Tyler Turby Season 1, 2, and 3. And then you had Twisted Insane and a few other spin-off series that we did. They were super cringy, but they were super fun to make. And this city has undergone many changes. Many. And it went from PlayStation 3 to PC to Windows 10 edition to now Xbox, and now it's on the Bedrock edition on a realm. And this realm is going to close. It has seen its ups and downs. We had several members on here. And I remember each and every one of you that have helped and have left, because that graveyard still exists. Every single person that was a part of this city that has no longer been playing on it is part of that graveyard. A lot of the homes and stuff are still the same. You'll recognize some of them. You'll recognize some of the buildings. A lot of things have changed over the years, though. This is 11 years. And I would keep it going. But people aren't playing on it as much anymore. I mean, we have made innovations that we could put towards other worlds that we can build at some point. But Minopolis is special. You know, it's been there since the beginning. So many of you have played and joined on this thing. It's this kind of going to be maybe a tearjerker for some of you, or nostalgia, depending on which. We're going to give one final tour of the city. One final tour of the city before we call it a quits. And I shut the server down for good. And we'll save it in the archives. Like, DJ Willie built this building. Remember that? And there's a few videos of us with this. This is the Sanders Court and Cafe. Made the recent videos of Minopolis are about this. This is a historical site that Uncle Harley started Kentucky Fried Chicken in. And we had built this. Several videos of us building it, along with the historical references and purposes to the build. We have the cafe here where we built on the addition that JRN has added to it. Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise is here. Museum is here. This is the old neighborhood. That's Tyler's house. Anybody remembers Tyler? Every time we had a new leader and the government would go under changes in the city, we'd destroy the old area for it and build a new one. That's the most recent Capitol building. We created power, working water lines, working sewer lines, monetary system. This is the old 2015 save of the city. Y'all would remember this most. This is how big the graveyard was. And this is what the city used to look like. We put all the PlayStation 3 worlds in one and put them on here. This is what the old city used to look like. This is what everybody that no longer plays on the server that was here in the beginning remembers it as. This was the last time a lot of people were on it was 2015. That's when a new president took over, and a lot of people didn't like him. And it was unfortunate. It was actually one of my cousins. His name was KT. We had our head bumps, but I came to accept him as the new leader of this world. But a lot of people didn't, and they left. And when he finally was over his term, he didn't run again. And we had this whole role play thing. And I believe Ravenous Rex, so a friend of mine, took over being the president. She won the election, and Twisted Insane is the same person as Twizzler the Gamer. Same person as VSRM Aimbot, if you remember them from the series. They became the president and vice president of the city, and then the president just disappeared. You can see we left the R on there. Historical purposes for that. But they disappeared for years. And in their absence and the vice president's absence, Tyler took over being the emperor. And we built him a palace, and he ruled with the iron fist. He had contingencies all over the city. That's what Tyler's house used to look like, by the way, right there. He had all... We'll go see his Rhino Cave. He had all kinds of contingencies with command blocks as we started upgrading the world to, you know, Bedrock Edition, where we had the command blocks. And he made it to where he even could take away my power as the host. This is the old Rhino Cave. He took away my power, and whenever he didn't get his way, he would activate his contingencies. And I'm sorry if I keep saying and he would activate them, and it would crash the world, and I'd be forced to revert it back to its original state. Let's see if Alfred down here. No, he's not. This base doesn't exist anymore. It got blown up. And when we did the DJ Willie movie, this was built for the movie by Elijah, who was Twizzler the Gamer, who played DJ Willie. They built that. Yes, this was an old city. Ray Ray's house was just right here. This is Ray Ray's house. This was the old city neighborhood that was basically downtown. Those are old signs of our conversation. Sandstone Hotel. Personally, I like the way the older city looked. It's more nostalgic than what it's evolved into now. Ray Ray also had a travel and transport business here, which was this building here. It was bringing back some memories. I believe we had a prison just down this way. There's something about the city that made it super unique was having those roads that went above ground. Yep, this is the old prison. This is not anywhere near as effective as the prison that we have today, the new one in place of this. The new one, I'll show you it. It's a very, very functional prison. This is the prison of 2015 here too. There's a prison downstairs. Used to be the firehouse. This is the prison downstairs. Oh, I hope the sound isn't too loud. I don't think it is. We'll drop it just a little bit, just in case. And I apologize for the AC in the back. You wear a suit every day recording, it gets hot upstairs, so... I have a AC on to keep me cool. If you don't like it, too bad. I remember this, we were live streaming this and we had a building competition here. Sonic Speed, my friend Alex's, well, was their stepbrother, but no longer is, built that. Tyler built that. Tyler helped build a lot of this actually. These were governmental homes, so you had the government of the city and everybody had their own homes in those neighborhoods over there. But this was their secondary homes if they worked for the government. The iconic roads again. And then the Twin Towers. I believe somewhere on here are the laws of the city, the original laws. Be the top floor. Not there. Here they are, they're in here. we would bring people here, bring them into this room of laws. Tyler helped me write a lot of these. None of these are really active today. But it does exist up here. So when you died in the city, you would, if you were in survival, you would spawn up here. And it looks like it duplicated it when I spawned it into the... I spawned this in on Minecraft Edit. I had spawned this in. And I had to do it twice. But you would spawn up here anyways. What's that? Setting spawn. Those are my old... I didn't have a mic back then. You would spawn up here. And the thought of this was PlayStation 3 era, is that the person could live up here. We would give them a house and give them farmland, maybe plant some trees, get some farm animals, and they could live up here in survival world while still being part of the world. And we started expanding this by putting different little things on here. This has a portal inside of it. And over here was supposed to be the room with every block imaginable, which it looks like these are all empty. Nope, here we go. Here we go. At PlayStation 3, at the time of me making this, that was every block that you started with. So anyways, that's the old city. Everybody would put their social media in this big old tower. And this is the original city, where things have moved around and have changed quite a bit. I just figure we give it one last tour before it shuts down. It has a month before it closes down. I will not be renewing it this time. I'm actually going to delete it. Delete the realm. This is that neighborhood. Tyler's house is there. You can see how much this has changed. That's the power bank. You go to my Twitch, you can see me working on that. I was working on that the other night. It controls most of these buildings here. Pretty much everywhere you see a line running in, like into the building, it controls the building's power. That's a Kentucky Fried Chicken. Oh, I forgot we also build working factories. Thanks to the thief, I call him Thief because that was his PlayStation username, Mr. Pinglepong. But Philip, his real name is Philip. He helped me build these factories. This is the graveyard now. Remember the little graveyard I showed you over on the older save? This is the graveyard now. Yep, that's it. Not sure what that gigantic structure block thing is doing there. A little concerning, but this used to be the other governmental district. Murpy Man 101, Matt, one of my best friends, was the president for 2 years. His term was up. Tyler is now emperor again. Wii U Gamer won the election after Matt stepped down from his first term, but Tyler took it over as the emperor, so he ordered this area to be destroyed and we made it overgrown. And then we use structure blocks to copy our builds and move them elsewhere for the new governmental district. But over here is where you kind of see the exoskeleton of it, but over here is where the old Capitol building was. We put weapons of mass destruction in this. We let people have their own factions, and we built a military up with mods, nuclear weapons, and anybody that threatened us, like, we would wipe out their civilization on the server, regardless of retaliation. You could see how many times we've tested a nuke. Here, that's just a blast of it. That's the old bank. That's an old bank. Some of you might remember the bases that ran underground. They were, we called them drug bases. The tunnels, DJ Willie tunnels. We made a whole cringy movie on it. Minecraft movie. DJ Willie had these tunnels that ran underground. Now they're sewer lines. And he had a base for all kinds. People were doing all kinds of things that were just morally wrong in the real world, but they were doing it on here because it was funny. Drug running, money running underground behind everyone's back. A lot of those little buildings are the same. And then we have the mall. Tyler built that in 2019. We had no idea that it matched, I think it was Quantico. It was either Quantico or some like FBI building in Washington, D.C. The design of it. We had no idea of that. Until I went to see I think it was my grandmother. My great-grandmother, and I took a picture of it and showed Tyler the building just because I thought it was cool that we were there, and he's like, dude, that looks like the mall. And I'm like, what? And so he sent me a picture of the mall here that we built. And I was like, whoa. So the reason why this is like this, by the way, and it resembles it so much, is not because we wanted to resemble it. We were going to make several floors. We made it that high, okay? We were going to make several floors, and at the time, commands didn't exist for us to do /fill. And we got this high, and we were too lazy and didn't want to keep going up. So I said, why don't we just like make some weird design at the top and put mall on it and leave it at that? And it kind of worked. It's kind of cool. I like it. This is the museum. This is where we put all of our historical things. And things that don't exist anymore, such as this sword that was in Tyler's base, which doesn't exist anymore. Murphy Man statue. This goes on the arcade. Like everything has its thing. This was originally an aquarium, and we turned it into a museum. I used to have mods that had actual photos of like Tyler and I and things that we have accomplished, and I had those in frames there, but the mod's not installed anymore. This was Tyler's electronic invention. I don't know if he actually invented this or found it on YouTube. But this is how our power was made. And when he made it, we decided to put a copy of it in here to preserve it. Alfred used to be in there, but somebody did /kill. This is the public figure room. All of our historical laws are there. And again, we had a mod that had every single leader of the server. What did that say? Stop Tyler's Empire. Cabinet? Not sure why it says cabinet. Yep, and unfortunately KT was the worst president. The reason why, and I started explaining that people didn't like him and they started leaving, was because oh, that's Black Stripe Racing, by the way. He took the rules too seriously, even rules that I put in place, and he was enforcing everything too much. And he was very good at making money in the server. He started buying up all the property and slapping rules on him, and we were like I didn't care. I relinquished my power. Nobody liked the way he was running it though, so it just didn't work out good. We had mods here for the series. Tyler Turby and Stranded. I had all of our skins up here. If I put the mod back in, it would spawn it, but it's not in right now. In here is the historical parts of Tyler. These are his first cars he built. That is the piece of red dye for his red suit. And if you want to know the significance of that, you have to watch the old cringy series. But that is the original red dye from PlayStation 3. And we were able to save that and put that in there. Looks like somebody rampaged through all of the original armor, which is now gone. All this stuff was original, and somebody has gone through and taken it all. This is still original. This stuff is still original. And go back here and you'll see Tyler's old homes. Tyler was a big part of the city. That's why we have so much commemorating him. That's Matt's old home. That's Tyler's first home. And these are his homes over the years as they upgraded. That's actually a roller coaster ride. And these here contain every block, every bit that it takes to build the particular house in the glass there. Like this one. every block, every piece to Tyler's 2013 to 2021 home, original, is in there. And this is a piece from a very old build, the Area 51 that we had. Before we even had preservations on here where we preserved pieces of history of the server, Area 51 got flattened, it got destroyed. I mean, we didn't use it anymore, so we just flattened over it, put a road over it, and we were clearing the road out to put a new one in, and found this piece. This was the last piece of Area 51 that we had left. This was all that was there, so I saved it in a structure block and I put it in the museum. It was one of the first builds. And you go that way, we do a lot of nuke testing, and a lot of the nuke testing happened out here, which is why now we have filled all of this in with another PlayStation 3 map. If y'all remember the roller coaster that I had made long time ago on PlayStation 3, this is it. This is the roller coaster. That's the Federal Reserve, or was. Looks like the factory got dismantled, and that's where the money was put. Now, I told you I'll show you the prison, the new prison. Everybody gets a jail cell. Every user in the server gets a jail cell. Everybody. Every single one of them. Through here, this is the command central where we put everybody in jail. Everybody. It spawns them in survival and locks them in place. And just because I'm closing the server, I'm going to show everybody this. Nobody knew where mine was. Like, the law is everybody has to have one. This is my username now. That's my username that they're used to on Xbox. On PlayStation 3, it was Yogi the Hamster 10. Some people, like Matt and Tyler, if they ever found this, which they have before, they see Yogi the Hamster, they're so used to it, they don't even think about it, and they flip it, and it doesn't work. It doesn't throw me in it. So, that's kind of a cheat there. And if Matt does it, it kicks them. Now, there's other aspects of the city that expand far and wide, but we're not going to go through all that stuff. You'll have to look at some of the older videos of Minopolis to see those. I will show you bits and pieces here. This was PlayStation 3's tutorial world I added in here. Should be at the edge of this. Yep, here it is. Another PlayStation 3 map. This was our Star Wars map. Awesome. And then up here was a big giant Star Destroyer. Awesome. A lot of work. This was the first building that I ever built on Minopolis. I was obsessed with Doctor Who at the time. I was heavily obsessed with Doctor Who. And I called it the Doctor's House. Nobody understood why it was the Doctor's House, but it was because Doctor Who. And you would come here, and you would see the city through the building's glass, which was pretty cool. Here we go. So we have new twin towers there that actually depict, I mean, they're not perfect, but they depict more of what they used to look like rather than the ones that I had with Uncle Harley and my face on. There's one thing I gotta do before I leave. It's over here.